is iRacing.
When you show up to a track where everyone knows it like the back of their hand, it's going to be tough to find an edge. Okayama will likely provide that type of challenge as we get ready to watch round one of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix series. And you'll see it all live here on iRacing and the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and joining me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes, our director, Christian Duploy, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Craig, I expect most of our drivers have done countless laps around this Japanese circuit.
Yeah, it's a track that a lot of drivers like to learn how to race here on iRacing. A free track and a track that is used in a lot of the rookie seasons, and also a track that these drivers have driven many times before just in this series. It's almost like they know it by the back of their hand.
So while this is base content for every account on iRacing, in case you're not familiar with Okayama, let's head to our track guide. Welcome to Okayama International Circuit. Located an hour's drive northeast of its titular city, it sits nestled among the green lush hills in southern Japan. Built in 1990, it's most well known for the two visits Formula One made in 94 and 95. But since then, national and international touring car series have come to race here as well. Otherwise, the two available layouts are mostly used for club racing and amateur track days. The full course is just under 4 kilometers with 11 turns, and the short version is a measly 2 kilometers with 7 turns. It does this by cutting out the portion between Williams and Revolver. While hairpins abound throughout the lap, overtakes tend to be surprisingly hard. The first corner, Atwood Curve, and Hairpin are the main spots where drivers can attempt a traditional pass. Hairpin makes for unique battles though. The unusually steep banking for a road course, plus the switch back into Revolver, means that holding it around the outside can reward a brave driver. However, while it is a more modern facility, runoff in some places is shockingly small, and it can be easy to damage your car. This section in particular around Revolver, Piper, and Redmond gets slightly claustrophobic. The pit entry requires some practice since you must use the inside lane of Mike Knight, otherwise you'll get a penalty. While it might not see as much use in the real world, here on iRacing, this track is part of the base content, and so new road racers will find themselves here frequently. With it being suitable for a wide range of styles of cars, it's sure to excite many of the competitors who tackle it. Well, I guess compared to real-world F1 history, this is going to be a few years too early for the Lotus 79 showing up here, Craig.
A little bit too early, but it's still a track that these cars can actually enjoy like they did in the 90s. A lot of flowing sections, a lot of elevation changes, and a nice opportunity for overtakes, which you look at going uphill at the Atwood Curve at turn 4, which we'll see very shortly, that you can work out where it is onto the long straight. Just provides a lot of opportunities, even though it's uphill. Does give the drivers a great chance to just let the throttle loose. And then it's the double hairpin into Revolver at 5 and 6. Open it in to Piper. As we see, there's the flowy section here. There it is, 5 and 6 at hairpin and Piper. It's a Revolver, sorry. It's such a tough section because if you want to make the move, and it's the same with the whole of that in middle section, you have to commit to the move and be prepared to go side by side. And that's the name of the game today. A lot of side-by-side driving before you get back to Mike Knight corner, before full speed at last corner. Be careful. You can't get an off track there. That's going to be another interesting point for the race.
Yeah, and there's also that gravel pit just to the outside. I imagine we'll see quite a bit of dirt being kicked onto the track from that as drivers try to push the limit there. Obviously, no championship to talk about as this is the first round of the season. However, for the race details of today's event, we have 28 laps to run. So they do get around here relatively quickly. So it's going to go by fast. That said, there's a few other things they do need to be worried about here in the first round of the season. Open setups. You want to try and get the car to your liking. But this is a series that is very, very open. The community will readily share car setups with you. In fact, the fastest drivers often will hand you theirs and basically put it up to you to try and match their times. But they're very willing to make sure that everybody's up to speed. No spare car, so you don't want to damage it. And it is pretty close to the barriers around much of this track. So could see some drivers run into some issues. Drive-through penalty at 17 incidents and a DQ at 25 keeps everybody honest. But for now, right now, it's going to be about putting the fast lap down, Craig. We've got Pauli Partanen back with the fastest lap provisionally on the pole position. Let's see if he can hold on to it as the second lap start to fall in line here.
Yeah, a pretty big field out here today. And Pauli Partanen, one of those drivers who has been the advocate of this series, really hyping it up. We do our best to hype it up with what we've done here on the broadcast, especially last season with loads of iRacing moments that I've seen on the social medias. But Pauli Partanen, one of those drivers that have really hit home the, come on everyone, get into it. You'll see him on the forums, you'll see him on social media, and you can join in on this. This is the official series for the Lotus 79. Almost said the 49s. They've got their own thing on a Saturday. And you can even sign up to have your own little team, mimic the old school days like in the 70s and 80s, where you can say that you represent Ferrari or Lotus or even TVR like some of the drivers do.
Yeah, I do love the passion they have for all the various championships that they essentially kind of run privately, even though these are official sessions. Like I said, it's a very close-knit community. And Parton in second lap, by the way, he did improve. It's down to a 118 flat. That's a full second ahead of Taylor Lane, as you can see on the tower on the left-hand side. So it is not looking good for those that want to try and topple our current reigning champion. No Togo Hisada here today at home soil for him, or what would have been home soil for him, to try and take the fight to him. Meanwhile, Ian Haycock's currently 17th after his latest lap around.
Well, we got going up Freacher here. If Togo Hisada's not here, and I think he's just resting after 24 hours in the Majors 24 earlier today. If he's not there, he's probably having a little bit of a rest. Gunnar Freacher can possibly bring the fight, as he used to do to Partanen, roll back the clock a little bit, where he'll have to roll forward the clock, but it's not good enough at the moment. His first lap, only a 118.9. It's just 1800 behind Daniel Gallant, who has that P2. As you start to see, as he starts to really crank it up through this nice technical section at the Moss Essen before down braking into the upward curve. Let's see how early he gets on the throttle. Gets it really good. The car is very stable here. I would have thought the back would have wanted to slide a little bit. It felt he got really early on the throttle there.
Yeah, it does look like it's a very nicely handling car here in his qualifying. This is his second lap, so he could still improve. And usually, from what we've seen over the past couple seasons, these tires do get better in the second lap of qualifying. Now, Partanen is about 9/10 of a second ahead of Freacher, so there is a lot of work to be done. But I want to give credit to Gallus. I don't think we typically see him on the front row of the grid, Craig.
No, I can't remember the last time I saw him this high up the grid. It's just been a pretty dominant showing, not just from Togo Hisada and Partanen last season, as it was almost like Hamilton, Rosberg, but it was just everybody else just being really quick. Even Taylor Lane up there in fifth today, a position you don't usually see. Around the last corner, literally named the last corner, goes going up Freacher, and he's going to need to find 9/10. Oh, he finds more. He finds a whole second. It's a 117.7.
Only driver to have broken underneath 118. Gernot Freacher has arrived. It's been a long time since he has taken a title. Is this the opening salvo on his return to the top? Meanwhile, Augustin Tina, sitting in 18th position, is on his second and final lap. He's got 50 seconds left, so I think he should have enough time to get to the line. Let me see if anybody else is able to complete a lap from here, and it looks like no. He is going to be our last driver And another one of these traditional liveries like you were talking about earlier, Craig, with the old Candy Tolman livery on it.
Oh, I just love these old liveries. Back when paints were a little bit more basic, well, in the good way, a little bit more simpler as well, as we see August and Tina come around. A little bit of a slide on the rear. He comes on by. I was just trying to do a little bit of stat looking here. Last win from the broadcaster, Gunnar Friescher, the 23rd of February this year at Hockenheimring. This has kind of got to feel like Hockenheim, I feel. I think he may have a good shot here.
He could. These long straights definitely help him out, although I think it's a bit of a shorter lap. Meanwhile, with the grid now set, that means it's time to go through our starting order. And Gernot Friescher, as we said, has taken the pole and is going to try and see if he can convert that. That does give him 2 bonus points, that pole position. From there, Pauli Partanen to his outside will try and deny him. It's Daniel Gallus starting from 3rd and Javier Mosquera in P4. Taylor Lane is 5th as Rodrigo Miranda, P6. Fabian Dan is going to be starting 7th today. Hans Sommer will be P8. Aaron Blair in 9th. And Augustine Tina, that last-minute lap, put him in 10th.
To P11 we go into the second page. Andrew Dixon will be 11th with Gabriel Martinez in 12th. And then it's Connor Levy in 13th. Alex Kesselig will take 14th. Simon Steinville will be 15th with Keith Herner in 16th. Manny Gridden will take 17th with Miguel Morlin in 18th. Then it's Alberto Lobo in 19th and Ian Haycox down in 20th.
21st goes to Ricardo Ruiz with Leon Force starting in 22nd. George Jeanette is going to be in 23rd. Then it's Byron Long, 24th, as Jason Krakowiak is 25th. Ben Summers, 26th position. Next row has Jan Lehman to the inside, Andrew Caro to the outside there in 27th and 28th. Richard Motte in 29th, and Thomas Tuba in 30th. One more car, didn't set a time. Jos Schmetz is going to be starting last on the grid. 31 cars taking to the grid. And with the lap being this short, that means we could see traffic starting up quite early in this race. We're only waiting on Martinez, and he has put himself out on the grid. It is time to go racing as the engines do start to rev. The lights are up as we watch from above here at Okayama, and the green flag is out off of the line. Gernot Friescher does not get off well. It is Partanen who beats him down to the first corner and is going to take that lead away behind them. It is double file for much of the field, but it looks pretty well organized into there.
Well, Martin Gridden did get sent around, and another car going wide as well is Augustin Tina, who had that really good qualifying. Not the best to start for those two, a little bit of contact. Someone got a really bad start at the start of the race. Richard Mateus, 14 positions already, and more drivers going around. Rodrigo Miranda now getting caught up at outward curve, but the leaders are all pretty quiet. Daniel Gallus, unfortunately, he's lost 2 positions at the start of this race.
I think also Dana was involved in that incident down at Atwood Curve. Meanwhile, look at the close battles into the hairpin. That one often sees a lot of attempts, but it is very banked, that corner, so it looks like those drivers will be able to hold that side-by-side successfully. Meanwhile, Daniel Gallus, who was looking so good in qualifying, from 3rd down to 6th. Aaron Blair looks like he's had a problem there in the background. He gets the car going. We got a problem coming down into Redmond. Someone sliding to a halt, and I think they were able to get out of the way. I think that was Leon Forst.
Yeah, Leon Forst just having a little bit of a moment there. I think he just lost it on his own. Yeah, just trying to get on. The brakes got a little bit, the tires got a little bit squirrely on him. Losing out. He had a really good start. Unfortunately, unable to do much. 2 drivers already in the pit. Fabian Dorn and Rodrigo Miranda already having to take that early tow. Front of the field looking pretty quiet at the moment as everyone keeps on going. Looking at Janne Lehmann, and now the drivers are all set. And a lot of drivers have made a lot of positions up here. Ruiz, 13 places on the lead lap. When was the last time we saw that on a race like this?
Yeah, on the first lap, up to 8th spot after starting in 21st. That was phenomenal, and top split on top of it. Meanwhile, we're back to our leaders. Gernot Friescher has lost the lead in the very first corner of the race. He has already regained the ground and is on the back of Pauli Partanen. But what do you think about this development here, Craig? Do you think he'll have opportunities to try and get by, or is this going to be difficult?
It's going to be tough. Remember, this middle section gets very tight, and if you try to go for that move into one of these hairpin corners, if it's hairpin, if it's Redmond, if it's Hobbs, you've got to make sure you've got a lot of speed and keep that power down. And this is one of those things that is so tough around here, because then your best opportunity is to go somewhere like the Atwood curve. So you have to set yourself up here, and it is so tough. But once again, Joe, I watched that start, and all I could think about was, yet again, Pauli Partanen has a secret. He's not going to share it with anybody, but I've lost count now how many times he has absolutely aced the start to get to the corner first. It's happened basically every time.
Doesn't seem too concerned about losing that pole, that is for sure. Meanwhile, watching Gabriel Martinez trying to chase down Taylor Lane for 4th place. This is into Atwood Corner. Need as good of an exit as you can get, climbing up the hill, because it's now the longest straight of the track, down into hairpin. It does look decent. Does Martinez try something into the right-hander?
No, I don't think. If we were talking Togo Hisada or somebody like that with the really good ability on the late break, possibly. But Gabri just didn't look like he had a good run coming up, because I think one of those drivers had a little bit of a slide getting on the throttle. And it's not a hot track out there today. 23 Celsius, 74 Fahrenheit. Not a lot of wind out there either. So they don't have to worry too much on what's there. And I think that may just be making a bit of complacency, getting on the throttle too hard. We just saw that replay earlier with Fabian Dorn, who had that small moment at the start of the race. Still got 29 drivers on the lead lap and battling.
Fabian has since come into the pit lane. He must have gotten some damage from that hit. Looks like he clipped somebody, and that kind of popped him into the air. Couldn't stop the car coming into Atwood. Meanwhile, Gernot Frische setting the fastest lap of the race. So he is putting the pressure on for that lead. We're still watching Tina, who has lost a lot of positions from the start. Is working on Aaron Blair, although Blair is actually working to try and get by Gord, and he does. Successful pass into turn 1 by the number 10 car.
You don't usually see that into the first corner, usually, because of the way the corner works, the way the corners can be here, because you can see just the way it just merges with the terrain, how the drivers have to be a little bit careful there. But Aaron making a really good race, and this is a good comeback. He's only -8 for the day, having to really fight back after what happened at the start of the race. The number 10 car trying to just hopefully make his way forward. Same with Taylor Lane. Taylor Lane just lost that position to Gabriel Martinez. Really ate my words there, because it was side by side into the hairpin, and they kept it side by side. And Gabriel Martinez, just with a little bit of an understeer moment, went into the side of Lane, but managed to hold that position.
I'm bummed we didn't get to see it, because he got his elbows out. You mentioned you needed a Togo Hisada. That looked very Hisada-esque, the way he was aggressive into that corner. And coming back onto the main straight, Taylor Lane is not done with his problems. Daniel Gallus is already following in closely behind. Partanen responds now with his fastest lap of the race, 0.6 ahead of Gernot Frische, trading those quick laps back and forth. We continue to watch the UK driver try and hold on to this top 5 position while Daniel Gallus gets ever closer.
You get ever closer, and now you've got to feel Gabri has got away. It's not a cork in the champagne bottle moment here for Taylor. He has that pace, he has that ability. I mean, he put the car P5. He's not a slow driver for any sake here, but he's going to be struggling. A little bit of a wide entrance there and a wide run into the Atwood curve. Side by side, he'll go with Daniel Gallus, and Gallus just allows Lane to make the mistake. Real smart there. Didn't go for late braking. He actually made Taylor outbrake himself there. That allowed him to just keep on going. The gap is going. I wonder if Taylor's got a little bit of issue getting some temperature, or too much temperature, in the bank there.
Here we're going to get to see what Martinez did to fight his way through, and boy, was it fighting his way through. Maybe a little too wide. I'm sure Taylor's felt a little aggrieved that he gave the space, but still got run into there. But in the meantime, Taylor Lane, like you said, 2 laps, 2 positions, and both in the same corner. Something doesn't seem right there.
No, something doesn't seem right there, and I wonder if it is just having issues at Atwood curve. Again, there is a bit of camber there, and then it goes uphill, and twice now he's gone a little bit wide, and he's also just lost a little bit of pace. Talking to drivers, we talked about the Aaron Blair recovery drive. Augustin Tina, we've got to talk about this. Real good little recovery here, trying to get past Richard Mateus. Not getting it this time. Got a lot of speed here, but the double toe is too strong, and that's Gord Gianotti right in front of them, just trying to hold on to this. There's a lot of cars here just for 18th. And in the words of Barry West, it doesn't matter where you are. As long as you're having some battles, you're having some fun on this series.
It does look like there's a bit of a train forming behind Gord. The Canadian has got himself a bit of friends there joining in. Thomas Tubo, he's got a good run. Question is he going to try and make the move on Force, who we saw have a problem early on? No, Force is going to make the move, and maybe was too ambitious. He gets in the side of Jana Lehman. Lehman catches the car. He's going to redress the position. He might lose the spot, though, to Thomas Tuba. No, they remain as they were, despite the drama.
A little bit of friendship there, a little bit of sportsmanship as well. Giving back the position. Going to keep fighting it, though, as they come into Redmond, and he'll get it cleanly this time. That's kind of what happens when you don't go for the send right. And it was just a little bit too hot there, a little bit too aggressive. The door was always going to close at that late apex corner for the hairpin, literally called hairpin, of course. And that was unfortunately what happened. But now got that position back, and even more battling happened. Last corner, we just saw Yanni Lehman make an overtake. That's not a place. Oh, Lehman get overtaken from Hans Sommer, sorry. That's not a place we usually see overtakes, especially at that speed, because that can be a nice medium to high speed corner.
Yeah, highly uncommon. And honestly, Lehman, I wonder if he does have a little bit of damage from that contact, because he gave up numerous positions in just a second half of the lap, essentially. It was multiple corners. He was just letting cars go by, it almost looked like. But it seems like maybe he's back up to speed now. Car is doing okay. Oh, what about this little battle? Levi with Ruiz, and I guess that's Taylor Lane in front of them now. Lane still bleeding positions potentially, as he's got two more close behind. We're going to ride on board with Ricardo.
Yeah, on board with Ricardo over the shoulder. A little bit of old school camera work here, just what we love to see from Dougie's camera packs. And does make you wonder if there's a little bit of damage on Taylor Lane's car. There was some damage on that car we were looking at, Yanni Lehman, but no damage here for Taylor. It is just a lot of struggling out there. And this is what Ruiz sees. He sees one car trying to battle another car, and he's kind of happy at the moment. Still only 13 places up. I say only like it's a shock. Remember, he made those 13 places up on lap 1. Since then, he's been unable to really make any inroads on this. And with a double toe here, and really good on the brakes, and look how good he was, just getting held up here from Conor Levy, you feel that he could make another position, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is one, but Levy is trying to defend.
It's a very good run. He pops his nose out down to the inside. Who's going to be the deepest breaker down in the hairpin? That's going to be Ruiz, as he gets another one. 14 positions up now and overtakes Connor. Next on his list, going to be Taylor Lane, who's moving the opposite direction.
Yeah, Taylor is not having a good race. We say that like it's a bad thing, only net -1 for the day, but that's still not where he wants to be. Having a really good start, really good qualifying, just losing out to the likes of Gabriel Martinez, Javier Mosquera, and Daniel Gales, to name a few drivers. And now you've just got to feel for Ruiz. Just get your rhythm going. 2 seconds up the road after Taylor will be Daniel Gales. Maybe can get this move done this upcoming lap, not this corner. Just do a rinse and repeat as we keep on with Gabriel Martinez, who I was just talking about, battling Javier Mosquera. That's a name we've not talked about for a long time. It's great to see Javier back racing here on the 79s.
Absolutely. Love seeing him out on track and competing and doing pretty well, but I'm not sure if he's going to come away with a podium today, because we've seen Martinez is very, very quick out here and is already caught up to this bright pink machine. He looks to the inside just a little bit, maybe just showing himself in the mirrors. I don't think he's close enough, but let's watch and see.
I wouldn't say that's close enough to me. I think Gabri's realized he can do some late braking, like we're having right here behind them, as Ruiz tried to get to the inside of Taylor Lane. And this is one of those problems we talked about. You don't get the move stuck at the hairpin. You have to go side by side through Revolver, and side by side a spin, and everybody survives. That's a real good heads up driving from everyone, and good from Taylor to get on the brakes the moment that car went sideways.
I think he's got the car moving. Yep, there he is, as Keith Herner is now up beside him, trying to see if he can demote him one more position. It's all unraveled for the number 9. Just doesn't seem to have the hold of this car at this track, as something doesn't click with him. Meanwhile, back to the battle for 3rd position. Javier having to play some pretty good defense, trying to keep Gabri from overtaking. And we still got a lot of laps to go. If he has to defend for this long, he's got his work cut out for him.
A man once said to me, you cannot defend like your life depends on it for a whole race. And I'm like, watch me. And I think that's what Javier's saying right now. We know, you and I know the pedigree of Javier from many different series here on GSRC, here on iRacing as well. He even got himself a couple of highlights on the iRacing highlight show in GT2s. He is capable of doing this defense. He's capable of rubbing rubber and rubbing paint. So this is the guy that if I want to try and anchor a position at the end of a race of an endurance, I say, go on, Javier, go for it. He is solid, and he is not going to be fazed by Gabri Martinez right behind. And he may even know that Gabri's got a little idea to try and do a late second send.
Werner gets a spot up to ninth. Taylor Lane loses yet another. Andrew Dixon is the next car back that you see in the blue and white behind him. Meanwhile, Josh Schmetz in a nice little fight down the inside, and is going to wind up ahead of Ben Summers as they still remain in quite a bit of a train here at the back. It looks like Ander Caro is at the front of this group that has about 6 cars in it.
6 cars at the back, and again, I see Barry West in the chat, and hello to him. A little bit of a hold-up from Yanni Lehman, not having a good time out there, and he is the cork in at the champagne bottle right now. Everyone's trying to get on by him, and it's so tough. And an interesting fact, remember, we're not halfway through the race yet, and I already see the leaders 15 seconds away from the first lap car and 30 seconds away from this. To give the context, they're lapping 2 seconds faster, the leaders, to this group, and a lot of this group's getting held up from them all getting in this little battle for grouping. Meanwhile, up ahead of the road, you've got Liam Force, who's just trying to make some moves.
Ooh, wheel to wheel coming off of Atwood, though. Force looks like he's got a little bit of a better run, potentially. Ian Haycock's on the inside. What's going to wind up down into the braking? Ian deep down into that right-hander, and is going to stay side by side. Switching back now into Revolver, and Ian has to give up the ghost. In fact, he kicks up some dirt as he goes a bit wide. Hans Sommer spies an opportunity. It's a very short straight down into Redmond. Can he maybe get down there? Yes, he does, and he's going to make him lose another position potentially. Ian fights back. It switches to the inside into Hobbs, and this is the nature of this track you were talking about. They're going to make contact, though.
They made contact. That was nothing intentional or anything. It was Ian just trying to get back on throttle, go back to the racing line. Didn't realize that hand had a bit of space right there. And there's thankfully no damage to the rear, to the front wings, or any damage to the rear of Ian. Just some good hard racing. But what an overtake from Leon there. He understood the situation. He managed to set himself up around the outside of Atwood to try and just set himself up to be the outside the hairpin, the faster line. It worked for him, and here we go. Taylor Lane, if it doesn't rain, it pours. Even though there's no rain today, despite there's now rain in the series, Taylor's on the outside, the wrong side, could be losing another position here to Moreland.
He's already lost 6 of them. What's going to happen behind him as well? Oh, as they nearly come together, they're going to go 3 wide, actually. Can he get 2 for 1? As it was Aaron Blair. Oh, no. And he's wrecked out, making contact. It has just absolutely devolved into nothing for him in a blink of an eye. Steinbill is going to try and pick up the pieces for that. And off goes Taylor Lane, as the car must be wounded the way he is just losing positions left and right. I wonder if we could get an onboard to see if there's some sort of damage on the car.
Yeah, I wonder if there is something there. I can't see anything physically from the outside, but I have to keeping an eye. And in fact, I do see now the wing. The front wing does have a little bit of damage, and the rear wing has a little bit of a bend on Taylor Lane's car. That is going to definitely be holding him up. Cannot catch up to the front here. This 3-car battle between Moreland, Steinbell, and Lobo. Just a lot of what is moments to just catch there. Taylor's going backwards, and you've now got the feel. If you realize that, if you're in force and you realize that, you've got to get away pretty quickly. And yeah, that damage on the rear, they always come together, they do. That's going to be pretty noticeable.
That was Krakowiak, I think, that made the contact there with Leon Forst. It was hard to tell what the car was doing. It almost looked like it snapped off to the side. Maybe there was a bit of ghost contact or something between them. Forst is not done with things. Still trying to overtake on Taylor Lane. Now 9 positions down from where he started this race. The car is dropping like a rock, and he's got some more pressure on behind him. Leon Forst going to try and do it down into Redmond. Gives a big look, and he's given space at the apex as Taylor knows that this car is not in good shape, but he'll give him the inside up through Hobbs, so we'll hold on for now.
Yeah, I wonder if it's also the car is just not performing well now. All that downforce for the wings are starting to go. And I wonder if that's also why some of these corners, Taylor's starting to just wash out a little bit early with a lot of understeer. The grip's not there anymore, and this is going to be an easy overtake for Force. We'll get on by. Now got to try and find 2 seconds to get up to the rest of this battling pack, who are trying to get into the top 10 very closely, but still very tight up there. A little slide and losing it. Taylor losing it, trying to correct it and trying to avoid everybody. 2 lockdowns for Taylor today. Very good, but what damage on Leon's car was that? Because that was a trip to the barriers.
He gave it a good clout, that's for sure. Hans Sommer got by, Leon Forst, Ian Haycock, Gord Janot. All of them managed to sneak through what must have been a scary incident through the fast corner of Williams. But we're seeing a lot of trains like this. It seems like track position is rather important. In the meantime, Gernot Friesche is suddenly back on Pauli Partanen. Fastest lap of the race still belongs to Gernot by about 0.2 of a second over Pauli Partanen. We ride on board the nose of the Austrian as he gives chase on the Finn.
Yeah, it's interesting. They have managed to pull almost 14 seconds away from everybody if they've just kept on driving like no one is around them. And last season, Partanen said he's getting old. He wants to see some youth come in. Togo Hisada came in. Look what he did. This season, to start the season, and there's no youth here. How about the veteran? How about the legend, Gernot Friesche? If you want to still say that you're probably a bit too old for this now, Pauli, I think you're going to have to go and tell that to the veteran, because when you tell an old guy or you tell a veteran, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit too old for this, they're always going to go, you think you're too old? You see nothing yet.
If I'm seeing it right, this is the 498th start, so we'll have to keep track of that for when we get to the 500th start for Gernot Friesche. He's practically part of the furniture out here. Aaron Blair, as this is the move that got him to the inside and unfortunately ended his race. That's Moreland. Probably was not expecting that Ferrari to suddenly show up. And with the two making contact tire to tire, that popped the wheel off, and that was the day over.
It looked harmless at first, and unfortunately, it just ended up not being harmless. So that is so unfortunate. I know the stats do say, I think it was 497. I do have to give a little shout out and a little nudge to our friend Michael de Turk, who updates a nice little stat sheet for us. It looks a little bit out of dated. I think Gernot has hit that 500. He's raised his battery, tipped his helmet off to say thank you very much. But I'm pretty sure he's hit that. He's got that 500. Now he just wants to keep on looking. And what he wants to do is have some battles. And these guys, still having battles. This is your Smelts, who, remember, started at the back of the field up to 21st. Very nice overtake there. Even though it's an injured Janne Lehman, still a very respectable overtake.
Oh, but look at how close it is. Oh, that's a bad exit. Lehman is lacking speed. Grinnan has it. He's got the momentum. He looks to the inside. It's not heavy braking here into the first turn. As he carries it through, he will move up to 22nd. Almost contact between Lehman and Long behind him. Long has to back out.
Has to back out, lives to fight another day. And these drivers having that real issue here with a lot of the throttle and a lot of this time. They're so close together. And remember, they don't have brake lights. So they can't do an instant reaction to a brakes. They almost have to do it at the last moment. And that starts a lot of this concertina effect. And you're seeing this in those tighter sections like the Moss S, or like the Revolver and Piper Redmond Hobbs complex, because you just have to just make sure no one just keeps it a bit untidy. And now we start to see Gernot getting really close, looking to try and throw a little line up there to Partanen. And I'll tell you what, he's early apex that corner. He's had to get off the throttle there. That was looking like a chance to make a move into the hairpin. Unfortunately, turning in too early has cost him.
Well, you talked about, Pauli asking for the young blood to come in. I'll be honest, this feels like the same song, different verse, because last season it was Pauli and Togo that were just interlocked, constantly battling, but that was a big mistake right there from Friesche. He loses a couple car lengths. These two, I don't think they've been farther apart than a second and a half this entire race.
I think the furthest apart they were was going into turn one, where Partanen got past him. That's it. This is probably also the second time they've been the furthest away. Just a couple mistakes there from Freisha. Just upsets the rhythm. It's a rhythm track because of, like most Japanese tracks, there's a lot of rhythm to this track, and just that one mistake just really set you up. Yes, it was outward curve. You think about it, make that mistake, have to do a little bit of lifting, have to lose some throttle. You change your speed going into hairpin. It just has a knock-on effect, and he's now going to have to hope that he can just get his rhythm back, because he was so close, and he's got 11 laps to go to try and look for this overtake. Still a lot of time. I don't think there's any time to panic right now as you're going up Freisha.
Well, and despite these cars having the ground effects to help them with the downforce quite a bit, one thing we keep hearing about, Craig, is that the aero wash is still very much a thing. And I kind of wonder if maybe that's what Gernot is experiencing. He gets so close, and it seems like he can't hang.
Do you know, it wouldn't surprise me, and it might also be a lot of the reasons we've seen some moments in the tighter sections in the rest of the field, just because that dirty air just holding on. Just look at the speed you cover through these corners here at Revolver into Piper and now Redmond. It just goes to show that you have to just keep that speed, but also just avoid the gaps here. So maybe he's having a little aero wash moment here and just trying to go by, and just look again, understeer coming out of Hobbs. I think you might be onto something there, Joe. This understeer, this dirty air, really starting to play havoc. And also, let's factor in these tires. They're starting to cry a little bit with 10 minutes to go.
But did you see that? That was a bit wide from Parton and off into the gravel. I don't think it hurt him too much because it looks like he holds on to the gap. But he's feeling the pressure. He's pushing hard here. Freisha is forcing him to have to give it everything. Oh, but the car is very loose. Look at the corrections. He keeps it on the track, but now he has really lost ground.
Really lost. Really good save, though. Real good handling of the car. If we had an onboard, if we had a webcam, we might have been able to see what he was doing. Very tough to see what he was doing, but was able to hold it, but he's lost the slipstream. This is big. This is where in these cars, if you start to lose the slipstream, unless you've got the pace, you're going to start to see that gap grow and grow and grow. They're number 1 and number 2 on iRacing in this race for a reason, but I feel that Paoli might be able to start to just turn the wick a little bit. Big time crash there. Almost 4 cars collected at the back of the field.
And Lehman and Long are stuck in the middle of the track. They just had another accident as other cars were trying to get through. They were interlocking wheels, so I think they couldn't get going as quickly as they would have wanted, and unfortunately, it brought more into the fray. Both of them slow. I wonder if they're trying to get to pit lane here.
They're trying to get the pit lane, but also the leaders just came on by them as well. So they had to be very careful with what happened. And all those drivers had to just hold back. And multi-class traffic is something they're not used to because there's not a multi-class here. Well, that traffic's going to be tough. And remember, this is not a mandatory blue flag on iRacing. It's an advisory blue flag. They don't have to get out the way. It is appreciated. When you've got a wreck like that, I think you've got no choice but to get out the way of anybody driving right now. And it's good to see the drivers still rolling.
Another big slide through the off-camber Williams corner by Gernot Freisha. Don't think he likes that one. But did you see that cheeky little move on the front straight? Paoli kind of moved to the inside. I think he was trying to keep Gernot from getting the slipstream by using that lapped car almost as a block.
It was almost like a pick move or a little bit of bookmarking, as I used to call it. It just felt like he was just understanding that he had to just kind of just not break the toe, but break the racing line from Freisha. Did Freisha want to go to that inside? He didn't look like he wanted any interest in it. It didn't hinder him. He's still back in the slipstream after everything that happened on that crash. So I wonder if he's seen that and gone, okay, Paoli, I know what you're doing, and I know what you're capable of. I've got a few tricks myself. You're going to see them very soon because you kind of have to get the gas down now with 9 to go.
Yeah, it's coming down to it. And just proof that these two are pushing hard. It's already 16 seconds back to Gabriel Martinez in third. They are running away from them in what is a relatively short race. That battle, though, for third is still somewhat close. So I'll keep half an eye on that one just in case that starts to erupt. Oh, this time it was Partsonen's turn to slide his way through Williams. That is such a difficult turn, and it is proving the bane of the existence of these two.
Yeah, it has really been throwing them off a little bit, but I don't know if Freisha can make a move there. Almost double apex to the Atworth curve there. Turning early, went a bit wide and turning. Now, here's his crash. Yannick Lehman is this green and white car. He comes around. I think it's the spin ahead of him. He slows down. The other drivers cannot see the spin. and they have nowhere to go, and they just catch up to Yanni Lehman, trying to get going. No, you, reverses, and that's an unfortunate move. Just a light tap there. One car goes a little bit of a 360. One car decides to go, he wants to the beach. The other cars just keep on going. But that all happened about 5 seconds before the leaders got there, and that could have been the leaders in that crash.
Tried to turn the Lotus 79 into a rock crawler and climb over the wheel of the car ahead of him. Didn't quite work, but definitely one of the more unusual incidents I think I've seen. Meanwhile, the Austrian still fighting hard to catch the Finn, keeping him honest. We're down to 8 laps to go now, 7 laps to go at this stage as we reach the end of this race very soon. Looking off the back of Pauli Parton, and you can see how close that Gernot Frische is, but he's been this close multiple times. Each time, he starts to slip back for one reason or another.
Okay, Gernot, let's see what you've got here at the Atwood curve. Taking a tighter line to try and get away from all that aero wash. It's helped him. It's helped him, and it's not allowed to get up to Pauli, but it's helped him stay with Pauli. And now he's just putting his nose there like, I can't make that because I'm not Toga Hisada, but I'm letting you know I've worked out what to do. We're looking at other battles here live. Leon Force having a little bit of a scrap. That's with Taylor Lane and Carrero and Augusta Tina. How Taylor's got wide into the big accident there. I think Force got away from that. I think it was Tina and Lane that may have got caught up there. Taylor Lane's day has gone from worse to the worstest.
I'll add that to my dictionary. But Taylor Lane, something is up. It's just been an atrocious day and is all the way down to 21st now with that little bit of a mistake. This group of cars still continuing on the fight. Force leading Tina, leading Caro, leading Schmetz.
Yeah, and it just goes to show, I think that damage is finally really catching up to Taylor. That wing, I think you talked about doing rock climbing earlier. I think a rock had definitely been on the rear of that wing for Taylor Lane for the majority of this race, and it's so unfortunate to see it with such a good qualifying. But Smeets trying to just go by, and I don't think we've seen Smeets before in the broadcast. It's a 2,918 strength field today. Everyone from 7,700 down to the last car of iRacing, which I think was 2,000. It was 2,000. So it just goes to show the large spread we've had today. And these two still battling. Gernot is getting oh so close. And 3 seconds up the road, Joe. Here comes that traffic and those battles we were just talking about. With 6 to go, this is going to be a nervy time for the next couple laps.
I kept wondering if we'd see the lap traffic play a factor in this battle. Gernot's going to want to try and use it the best he can. However, I will say this series prides itself in the lap traffic being very well behaved. It's something they work with on drivers to make sure that everybody is aware when those leaders are coming through, because we've got a very important battle that is trying to be decided with precious few laps left. And there you can see proof as our lapped car moves off to the side.
Yeah, again, remember, it's not a mandatory blue flag, it's advisory, but because of the way this is a tight-knit community, they kind of work together here to make sure they do. Oh, Leon Force has had a moment, and you'll see him just in the gravel right there. An unfortunate moment coming out of Williams, and he's gone to the pit. So that's one of these cars that they had to worry about that is gone. 2 seconds up the road would be Ben Summers. This is the closest Gernot's got. Pauli's had a little bit of a mistake here, and I think Gernot's got a really nice run as they come down to this back straight.
Is the straight long enough? He's going to get the toe, but Pauli looks fast. Even with the slipstream, Gernot cannot seem to catch him. A bit of a surprise. Usually Frische likes to trim it out, but I guess it looks like Partonen was able to put that much more top-end speed to the car, and that is proving extremely difficult. Here is what happened to Forst. Heading into turn 2, car gets sideways, and yeah, that's about all she wrote right there.
That's all she wrote, and that's unfortunate. Just one moment here. Another spinner just ahead. That was Tina, just having a small moment there through into the entry of Hobbs and holding up the drivers again, but not helping Frische out here because Partonen continues on with this gap. Ahead of them are 2 cars battling right now, Taylor Lane and Ben Summers. I say battling, unfortunately, Taylor does have that damage, so not a lot that he's going to be able to do. Can't make the move in Summers. This is going to back up Partonen. This is going to back Frische right into Partonen. This could be very interesting.
And we know that Taylor Lane's car isn't in the best of condition this race. It looks like he'll have a better chance to try and pull off to the side, which he does right now. Okay. Whew. I was a little worried that Taylor might have a moment in front of our leaders, and that could be the thing that disrupts it, but it looks like that thankfully did not come true.
And I think they've got to be thankful. And I did see them on the radio right away, giving a lot of thanks there because they were in their own little battle. They gave up their battle to make sure the leaders have a clear track to have their fight. Because this is the one, well, every battle matters, but this is the one that everyone's eyes on at the moment. And when you see on the relative a blue name, or red name, sorry, with 1 and 2 next to it, you know you've got to give the respect. Thankfully, they did it. 2 more cars up ahead. Hopefully they can get that, but here's another battle. Moreland trying to get by Hans Sommer. Andrew Dixon ahead of them. Very interesting battles. You've still got battles out there on track. Even with Parton having a bit of a slide here, nothing is signed, sealed, and delivered. Free to go, Joe. This is the closest Freacher's been all race.
I could almost reach out and touch it, but that cost him the exit of the corner. That's what he needed, and he lost ground once again. Lapped car in front of them, Andrew Caro. Just a little bit off the racing line. Which side does he choose? Tries to stay the left-hand side, but I think that caught out the Finn as Parton was not sure which way he was going to go. Didn't give a chance to Freesia this time. 3 laps left. What does he do to try and take this lead back? Remember, they were in the reverse order when they gridded up. It's Freesia trying to return the favor and retake the lead.
I don't know if he's got it. He's not getting the run at Atwood. And we know that Atwood curve is the key exit here to make an overtake down here to the hairpin. And it's just not working for him today. The camber is not helping him as well. He tried to go for a move. So he has to start thinking elsewhere. But these tight sections, the air, the dirty air, throwing up a lot here. Really throwing off Freacher on his day. Not a lot he could do. Freacher was surprised that he got that pole position. However, everybody knew he had the pace. Everyone knows he's still got the pace. But unfortunately, there's a man who's got a trophy he wants to keep defending this season, Joe. It's going to be tough for Partonen to let go of that trophy.
No doubt. I'm sure he's going to work like the Dickens to hold on to it. They're going to get 2 to go this time by. Now, they have 1 car up ahead, Krakowiak. I'm not sure if they're quite close enough that they'll catch him, but it might be tight by the time they get to the checkered flag. We'll see whether or not it plays a part. Otherwise, it is now a clear road ahead for the pair of them. It is a straight fight.
It's a straight fight to the line, to the finish line, and I just feel that Freacher is too far away. He has to look for his opportunities, but he can't get them. Now, you think the Moss S, it's just an S. It's flat out for them. It means you got to get the run through Williams, and now Partonen is doing the IndyCar shuffle, and he's trying to break that toe. He's already pulling ahead here. I feel the tires are starting to die a little bit here for Freacher. I feel that Partonen may have just timed this perfect to start his pull away.
Yeah, you got to think having to be so close behind that car ahead, that's got to eat up the grip. And there again, the car slides coming out of Piper. And Gernot Freesia loses yet more ground. It's now nearly a second behind Pauli Partonen. I fear unless Pauli makes a mistake on this last lap, that might be all she wrote.
Yeah, let's knock on wood. Apology, but let's knock on wood. We don't want to see anybody have a moment on this last lap. Barney's going to be ready with the white flag as they come on down the start-finish straight one more time. 80 seconds left to see if Freacher can find a second here, and I don't think that's going to be there. Partonen just went green last time by, didn't go green this time by, so Freacher still has the fastest lap. What have you got here, Gernot? I can't see you finding it here. He's going to have to look for it the best way he can. But if he can't get the launch out of Atwood, I think that could be all she wrote, Joe.
So I guess that is the small crumb of comfort for Gernot Freesia. He'll get all 4 bonus points if he holds on to that fastest lap. But that's not necessarily guaranteed because Partonen probably is well aware. And from what we've seen from the Finns in the past, they pay attention to those bonus points. And if he thinks he can steal that fast lap, he's going to try.
Well, you got to remember the fastest lap almost decided the championship last season. You think it's just 2 points. Those 2 points were a big factor at the end of last season, and they could be a big factor this time. Partonen starting to pull ahead here. I think he is hunting for that fastest lap. He was fast last time. What's he got to try and aim for? Well, I'm pretty sure it's a time that he can't make. He made it last time with an off track, but this is definitely Partonen's day.
It's a 7-point difference between P1 and P2, so those 4 extra points really eats into the damage done. It doesn't matter right now because what matters is the win for Pauli Partonen and the opening lap of opening race of the season. The two having fun celebrating across the line actually sending Freesia up onto his lid. And meanwhile, behind them, I want to give credit to Gabri Martinez from 12th position up to a podium. This was a phenomenal run.
A great drive there to get there. Gabriel Martinez will take the P3. Javier Mosquera be fourth, and it's Daniel Galez who's just coming across the line. But also, let's talk about Ricardo Ruiz, who's just coming by, just holding off Connor Levy. 15 places was the driver there called Ruiz. He managed to hold on very well, did the Spanish driver. What a drive to start, but he could have fought 13 places at this first lap. Weren't able to get many more places after that.
Not many drivers left on the lead lap. By the way, the answer to our question about the fastest lap, well, it was Freesia in the end. He held on to it as Partanen could not steal it away. So it's only a 3-point difference after the first round, thanks to Gernot taking all the bonus points available. Steinbild finishing 14th, and then it's going to be Janot, the last driver on that lead lap. Out of 31 starters, I think we only saw maybe about 17 or 18 actually get to the finish here. No, I take that back. It looks like it was more than that. Maybe about 24 of them managing to see the checkered flag. Speaking of which, why don't we try and go through our finishing order before we talk to drivers here, as Pauli Partanen takes yet another of his many wins, although he's not even close to trying to catch up to Freesia yet. He's still sitting third in the all-time list for those wins. Freesia was 0.7 of a second behind, with Martinez another 25 seconds back there, but still finishing third. Mosquera was P4 today. Daniel Gallis with a well-earned fifth, as Ricardo Ruiz was 6th and Connor Levy was P7. Alec Klessig, P8 today. Keith Herner, 9th, and Andrew Dixon rounds out your top 10.
To the second page, it's going to be Hans Sommer, who will be in 11th, with Alberto Lobo in 12th. Miguel Morland will take 13th, with Simon Steinbild in 14th, and then Ian Haycox, that 15th. 7 places for Gord Janot in 16th. 11 places for Anna Karen, 17th, and Jos Smits will be 18th. Ben Summers will take 19th, and what an unfortunate day to not remember for Taylor Lane. 15 places down in 20th.
21st is going to go to Manning Gridden, with Augustine Tina in 22nd. Thomas Tuba, P23. Jan Lehman in 24th, and Byron Long, 25th today. Krakowiak, 26th for him. Then we get into the DNFs with Leon Forst, Aaron Blair, Richard Maltai, and Rodrigo Miranda. Fabian Dan, unfortunately, out on pretty much the first lap of the race for this one. Going to be a bit frustrated about that. Looks like we have our winner ready to talk to us. Pauli Partanen returning and picking up exactly where he left off with another victory. Pauli, you traded one bit of pressure from the driver behind for another. Instead of a Japanese driver, it's an Austrian this time. But does it feel the same?
Yeah, it feels the same. Yeah, Gernot had super pace, and actually he seemed to have a bit different kind of setup than me. At least to me, seemed like that he had a bit more wing, so he was super fast on the slow corners, and he didn't really have the top pace to overtake me, so I was not really that nervous, but I knew that if I make a single mistake, it will be over, because I think Gernot had a bit more pace than me.
It did look like he was able to catch you pretty quickly, just could not seem to get that pass done. Talk about how the car was driving around this track, though. We saw quite a few slides around some of these quicker corners.
Yeah, it was actually surprisingly hard. I made the setup for this week, and maybe I made it also a bit too hard to drive, because when I saw how Gernot was flying with that setup and he had a bit more grip on the corners, I think I a bit failed on the setup side, so most likely that's one of my fault also. But yeah, it's hard track. Like, there's slow corners, and with this new tire, the slow corners are tricky, so you need to be really careful and know what to do with the car. So it was not that easy at all. But yeah, great job for everyone who finished it, because it was not really not that easy race.
You know, I want to correct something that I had said just a little bit ago, because I had said you were third on the all-time wins list. I think you're actually now second on the all-time wins list.
I am.
Do you have any thoughts whatsoever of catching Gernot? Because I know it's going to take perhaps years to do so.
Yeah, I don't really have any passion to do it because Gernot is so far away and he deserves that spot. So I'm just going to drive races and let's see how many wins I will get. But yeah, the amount of wins Gernot has is insane. So there's nothing really I can do with that. But yeah, he deserves that, and most likely I will get more wins in future, but not enough.
All right. Well, congratulations. That was our victor, Pauli Partanen.
Hey, wait a moment.
Okay,
Can I say something before?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I know that Toko is not here, so I prepared something in Japanese because I know Toko is watching with her friends, his friends right now. So I beg my Japanese for a moment. So here it goes. Konnichiwa Toko-san to oto modachi. Tanois ne kudais ne watashi no kavari ni Toko-san ni piiru o okotte akate kudoisai. Kochisun Toko-san wa kito champion ni marimasyo. Arigato. Thank you. I hope that was good.
Don't ask me. My Japanese is nothing right now. But
yeah, same here.
That was Pauli Partanen. And Craig, I have to admit, I've never heard Japanese in a Finnish accent before.
No, I thought my Japanese was average, but he just put me to shame then. I'm the man that watches a lot of stuff from Japan. I've got to be brutally honest. That's I think I understood some of it, despite I speak none of it. But yeah, at the end of the day, really nice to see. We do miss Togo. I'm pretty sure we'll see him again. But we do have some other interviewees here, and I believe Gunnar Friescher is with me now, who finished in P2. And Gunnar, it was a great qualifying time, but it was just a shame. There was nothing for Partanen. It looked like it was a very tough track to make some overtakes today.
Yeah, definitely. On the other hand, that was clear. I knew before the race that I had a little bit more downforce than Pauli, so I was surprised to be in pole position, to be honest. But yeah, when I lost the start, I immediately knew I was in trouble because overtaking is really hard, especially if you can't do it on the straights.
Of course, taking it hard as well, and we did see the car start to struggle. I'm going to take a guess that the tires might have just overheated a little bit because it looked like in some of the corners you were really struggling with a lot of understeer. Was it a combination of tires or was it also the aero wake?
I think both. I think that the track just is lacking grip, and I rather think that it was hard to get the tires warmed up enough to be in a good temperature window. So it was really tough to drive because it felt like ice skating at times, especially in the last sector where there are so many really slow corners.
Yeah, the slow corners was one of the things that we did notice did catch you out there. It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it's still a good result in P2. A man with over 500 entries. We go to a different track next week. It's Canadian Tire. I don't know if there's a chance of rain, but this is something that we haven't talked about. Rain is now in the Lotus 79s. What are your thoughts about this coming up for this first season with the possibility of having some wet races?
I'm really looking forward to that feature. I've been looking for it for many years. On the other hand, I didn't really practice during week 13, so I just did a couple of laps on rain so far, and it seems to be quite tricky and difficult, but I really think it will add to the challenge of the races, especially if it's unpredictable.
Well, it could be predictable, it could be unpredictable. Nothing's ever for sure in the Lotus 79's gone up. Before we let you go, you are the legend here. You are the veteran, as they say nowadays. The floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I was really happy with my performance today. So it's not that often that I can fight Pauli pace-wise, but even more impressive than his win was his Japanese today. So big congrats to him, and yeah, looking forward to this season. Although I'll be missing the next 2 rounds, I think. So see you later then.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again, and I think we're all probably looking forward to more Pauli Partanen Japanese. It could be interesting to hear a Finnish man, but Gunnar, thank you once again for coming in. We look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time when you come back from a little break, but thank you very much once again. P2 in the race today.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
I'm pretty sure, Joe, maybe we'll have to just start learning Japanese ourselves just to try and combat this Finnish Japanese. It sounds very interesting, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, good luck on teaching me other languages. I was never very strong with that. The good news is the next driver does speak English, as he's from the UK. Taylor Lane with us, finishing 20th today. Taylor, we wanted to unravel the mystery. Your qualifying was excellent, but the race, it seemed like you were dropping like a rock. Was the car damaged, or what happened?
Yeah, that was terrible, wasn't it? So, I don't know what happened really. I think I got a little bit of damage on one of the side skirts, possibly from a side hit, and that made the rear go round on another lap. And then car behind had nowhere to go really, so I got a tap on the back and on the front, and then it just got worse and worse from there. The car turned into a bucking Bronco. It was like it woke up today and chose violence. Yeah, that was interesting getting into the finish though.
I mean, it did feel like a bit of a millstone around your neck throughout the race. How do you tackle a race like that when it seems like nothing is going right?
Breathe. That's what you can really do. Just breathe and try and keep it on the black stuff and get to the finish. But yeah, I wasn't expecting much. I don't expect much from these races because I don't have a lot of time to prepare for these like the other guys do. So it's very much a load in a Powley set. Thank you to him for providing setups to the community. Loading up a Powley set and seeing where we can get from it out of it. So yeah, great fun regardless.
Well, we go from multiple slow hairpins at a track like this to the fast and flowing Mosport. Do you see yourself doing a little bit better over there?
Oof, that could be an interesting one, especially with Moss Corner being as notorious as it is. So it'll be a lot of fun, but I suspect there'll be quite a bit of death there, so it could be interesting.
All right, well, we'll prepare some caskets. Hopefully we won't fill too many of them, but commiserations on the day, and hopefully we'll chat with you on better circumstances later.
Thank you. Keep one of those caskets for me, please.
That was Taylor Lane finishing 20th today with a bit of a bad one to forget, unfortunately. But we'll want to remember today, as we also want to remember a few of people out there, including the Lotus 79 community. So we want to give a big thank you to them for bringing us back for another season of coverage, and to our team today, Craig, Christian, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Like we've been saying, next race at Mosport, and that'll be Sunday, June 29th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure and tune in for that. But then after this, we've got Grand Prix Legends next week on Saturday at the Hungaroring. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.
This is iRacing.
Trains, it felt like.